Protoss players can only have one mothership at a time in the StarCraft 2 beta. So with the abilities that it has, it is very, very important that you keep that mothership alive, because as you can see, it cloaks any units under it and any buildings under it as well. So that is a super useful ability, but it also has the ability to cast mass recall, which is like the recall of the Arbiter in StarCraft 1, and it also has Vortex, which essentially sucks all units in the area of effect into it. It does not do any damage, but you can essentially make a portion of a player's army disappear for a given amount of time, and then basically cut their army in half. You do have to be careful with that ability though, because your own army can get sucked into it as well. So that can be a little bit problematic if you place it in the wrong spot. Anyways, we can see that Dimaga is still mining very, very efficiently at all of his expansions, although it looks like some of them are starting to run out of minerals here. And despite the fact that Zerg units are so cheap, it is very, very easy to burn through a lot of money very quickly, just because of how quickly they die to Psystorm and Immortals, which we see that Hasu has been using a lot of, still using a ton of High Templars on the map right now. In the unit count, we do see that he has 13 right now, but I have seen more than that on a couple occasions, although I haven't gotten an official count on the most High Templars he's ever had. I do know that he's had quite a few, most of the map, and it looks like doing a Doom drop with the few Overlords here, getting the transportation capabilities. I'm going to try to come in and focus fire down some of the tech of Hasu, although Hasu now showing that he does have one carrier in the mix right now. And it looks like these Ultras aren't going to be able to do a whole lot, as he does not have any detection in the area, so they're not able to see all the units that are under the shielding of this mothership's cloak. Although he's using that as a diversion, now that he has forced the Protoss army to back out, he has moved in the front and taken out some of the initial defenses. As you can see, the pylons and cannons that were guarding his front entrance are now gone, and he has taken down a couple of the gateways that were at the front entrance as well. Although he has lost a good chunk of his army, only a handful of Ultras left out here in the front, so he's going to once again need to macro up some units very quickly, and he is going to need a way to deal with this mothership, because he only has 6 Overseers, and looks like a couple finally getting over into the mix on this side of the map, although one of them going down right now. So he is getting forced back into his base, although again you can see Zerg units starting to stream all the way across the map as he is trying to force Hasu here to commit to this attack, since he is now so far outside of his base that he is kind of in a do or die situation. And it looks like that mothership not taking a whole lot of damage, although he does have an Overseer in the area, so you can see the units underneath that, and forcing a lot of this ground army out from under the protection of the mothership. So trying to focus down this Protoss army, and it looks like this mothership is going to start taking some damage from the Hydralisks, although I don't think these Hydralisks are going to be enough to take it down. Although more Hydralisks coming from the north here, and these Ultras moving in, trying to take down some Stalkers, although it looks like they're going to get focus fire down, and there's the Vortex ability. So key, although he does not get all the Hydralisks, and the last couple of Hydralisks are able to focus fire down that mothership, and this carrier about to go down as well. So it looks like Hasu could be in a bad spot here, as he does have another Nexus going down at this high yield expansion. But, oh, and a Psystorm going down on those units right as, oh my goodness, that Ultra just getting blown to bits. But great timing on the Psystorm, as he is able to actually get that down right as the Vortex is wearing off. And it looks like Dimaga is going to move down here and try to take out this Protoss expansion again, as you can see, Hasu does have to cancel all the buildings that he had gone up there. And now the only base he is mining off of, it appears to be, is in the upper left, which is nearly gone. So he could be in a bad situation here if all of this money that he has stored up runs out pretty quickly. And as you can see, he has a lot of minerals, but very, very low on gas, which some of the most effective units against the army combination of the Zerg are going to be the gas-heavy units, such as the Immortals, the High Templars, and the Colossus. So he will need to secure another base, which pretty much the only base left with any significant resources added at this point is the high yield that is right outside of Hasu's base. And despite the fact that Dimaga has taken over a huge chunk of the map, you can see that he is actually running out of resources along these bases. Actually a decent amount left up at the 12 o'clock expansion, but all the ones on the far side here on the left have been mined out, with the exception of this one expansion. The high yield minerals are gone. His main natural is gone. His expansion still not being mined again yet, although he is trying to take over this high yield. And at this point, he does have more expansions. We can take a look at the units lost overlay here and see that he has lost a lot more units in resources. 407 units going down versus the And there's the changelings there turning into some zealots trying to get some intel on the Protoss army here. That again is an ability of the Queen, I believe. Or no, I'm sorry, the Overseer. I am a noob. I apologize for that. But anyways, the Zerg players usually do lose more units just because the Zerg typically have more units which are less expensive. So they cost less minerals, they cost less gas, but they die easier, and you get more of them for that. But looking at the resource between the units lost, you can see obviously the Zerg player losing almost 20,000 more minerals worth of units. So that not nearly accounting for the discrepancy in the units lost here between Dimaga and Hasu right now. So despite the fact that Hasu has a lot less bases than Dimaga has, he has utilized his units to the best of his ability. And it looks like he is playing a much more strategic, micro-involved game, while Dimaga is playing a much heavier macro game. And it looks like the mothership has come out again, which this has been key in creating that discrepancy in the units lost as far as the amount of resources that each player has lost, because that mothership again allows all the units underneath it to cloak. So if there are no overseers nearby, then it is extremely difficult to take down that mothership or any units underneath it, because of course the army is going to be focused on defending that mothership because it is so crucial in the Protoss army. As you're only allowed to have one of them at any given point in time, typically the Protoss player will have it with their main army. As you can see, he has pretty much every unit on the battlefield right next to his mothership ready to protect it, and of course to take advantage of that cloaking field that it provides. And it looks like he's moving out a couple of spore crawlers from the Zerg player right now, and I do like this because spore crawlers do have detection, so even if they're able to take out all of his overseers, he's going to have these spore crawlers in this area to do detection for him. And it looks like casting some some fungal growth on some of the army of the Protoss player Hasu now. And these, oh my goodness, all these corruptors moving in, focus firing down that mothership extremely quickly, and now going for the carrier. And it looks like he's able to get the mothership and the carriers down, although there is still a pretty sizable Protoss force here left. And we can see that the gap in resources for the units lost column is increasing in the favor of Hasu here. So despite the fact again that he has lost, or he has not kept nearly as many bases as Dimaga, he has taken huge advantage in the units he has killed versus the units he has lost himself. So, and it looks like this Protoss army going to sit outside of, oh my goodness, and taking down that infestor, but going to move into the Zerg player's base. The Zerg player, Dimaga, is going to be in some serious trouble here if he does not get an army up here quickly, because this is a very large and very scary Protoss force. Looks like some units streaming down, primarily roaches right now from Dimaga. Going to try to take this out, although again, these Immortals and Colossi are very, very powerful against those roaches. Even though Psystorm doesn't do as much damage, those also aid in softening up those units. And it looks like Dimaga may be rebuilding some of his tech tree here very shortly. You can see that he's already started building a spawning pool and an infestor pit as he has lost those. Actually, he has not quite lost his spawning pool yet. Although I'm guessing he's assuming it's going to go down very quickly because it is at this base, which is virtually undefended right now. Although he is bringing up some Hydralis, Roaches, and Corruptors right now, trying to take care of this. The Corruptors are actually getting pretty low on health, although they are very, very strong against air. But there is a lot of anti-air from the Protoss player right now. And some Psystorms going down on these Roaches. Again, more Psystorms going down. These Psystorms have just been so crucial. Again, I think that has been a huge part. Oh my goodness, so many Psystorms. You can just see these Zerg units melting away between the Psystorms and the Colossi. They are just taking so much damage. Although it looks like the player is just going to be able to overrun the Protoss player Hasu because he just has too much money. He was able to get too many bases on the map and now able to hold that down with the little money that he did have. And it looks like Hasu is going to be backed into a corner here. And he puts a GG, well played. So it looks like this game is going to Dimaga. In large, the victory can be attributed to his great ability to macro, just constantly taking expansions, constantly building units and streaming them all across the map and putting pressure. Really, most of the battles happen right here at the front door of Hasu. which did not ever really allow him to move out of his base. You can see the only expansions he was able to secure were his natural and then the 2 island expansions. And quite honestly, I'm surprised that Dimaga allowed Hasu to take the one in the upper left for as long as he did, but he was able to take that, and despite the huge discrepancy in the units lost, you can see again over 20,000 in resources higher on the units lost for Dimaga versus Hasu. But as you can see, the macro ability for Hasu to pull in all those resources and constantly be building units is what really paid off for him in the end and got him the win. Anyways, thanks for watching. I know it was a long game. It was an exciting game, very fun to cast, and I hope it's fun to watch. Thanks for watching, guys. GG.